Hey everybody, and welcome to Autism Awakening, the podcast that helps you help your child with autism. My name is Dr. Jared Skowron. I've been an autism biomedical doctor for 21 years. And this podcast we have to educate you guys as parents or family members or therapists or whomever who knows a child with autism, how you can help them. Because autism is a medical condition. It's not behaviors, it's not parenting. There are medical things going on inside of our kids that are affecting their language development, affecting their behavior, affecting their mental processing, their motor function, their sensory function. Everything that you guys deal with comes from an internal cause. And so our medical treatments for autism are geared to help what's going on medically and biologically inside our kids so they can be better, feel better, and do better. So what we're going to be talking about today, it's already the middle of November. Can't believe that. And our topic for our podcast today is, which supplements does your child need? What supplements should I give to a child with autism? Okay. Which ones are going to work? Which ones are right? And there's so much out there now. And again, when I started 21 years ago, there really wasn't as much. And now fast forward 2 decades and you pull up social media and you're getting ads all day long, for these different stuff and different things. And you know, what's works, what's good quality, what's not good quality, you know, who knows what they're doing. There's a lot of questions. So what I wanted to do today is kind of give an overarching description on supplements for autism, what you may want to consider, what you may want to try, because it's going to be different things for everybody. These kids are on a spectrum, and some have certain issues and some have other issues. Some are high functioning and some are low functioning. So there's a lot out there that can help different kids. So I kind of wanted to go over a big full-on review. Through Spectrum Awakening, we have over 75 different supplements and lab tests that you can get for your kids. So that can be overwhelming. And I talk to families who we have telemedicine visits with families. And, you know, a lot of families come up to me and say, like, I am so overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. My child is screaming. They're not talking. Where do I begin? Okay. So let me give you that overarching kind of review. And I do want to make sure that you guys download our new Black Friday checklist. So this is last year's Black Friday checklist. We don't have our new one out yet, but we should have it this weekend. Black Friday is Black Friday is Spectrum Awakening is one of their 2 biggest sales of the year. You know, we often offer 20% discounts, but for Black Friday, it's going to be 25%. So if there's ever anything you wanted to try, now's the time. Okay. In a couple weeks, the whole Thanksgiving Black Friday starts. That's the time to try it, because if you're not familiar with Spectrum Awakening, they have a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you try something and you don't like it, it doesn't give you the results you want, your child doesn't like the taste of it, doesn't matter. They'd rather you send it back for a refund and try something else, because there's too many things that can help your child. So now's the time to try it. Now's the time to get your lab testing, because Spectrum Awakening has lab testing on their website. So wanted to review kind of everything that Spectrum Awakening has to offer. All right. So where do we begin? I want to begin first with behaviors, because I would say when I talk to my families in our telemedicine visits, that they usually mention one of 3 major things. They say, number 1, I want my child to speak more. B, I want behaviors to be better. And C, I eventually want my child to be independent and live a life of their own, because someday we're not going to be here as parents. All right. So let's start with the behaviors, because I think that is affecting a lot of you guys. And until you get those behaviors under control, you're really not going to be able to do much more when it comes to language or other kind of development. All right. A lot of the behaviors, now we're talking about hyperactivity. We're talking about anger and aggression. We're talking about not sleeping through the night. Okay. We're talking about these behaviors that often will come from pain. All right. Especially, we had a podcast recently about self-injurious behaviors. A lot of our kids who hurt themselves or hurt you guys. I mean, how many of you have scratches, have your hair pulled out? They are trying to communicate their pain. All right. They are in pain. The majority of our kids, when there are pain and behaviors, it's due to a gut infection, because our kids just get infections in the gut. Could be yeast, Could be parasites, could be bacteria. I mean, even today, you know, I see return patients Thursday mornings. We had somebody with an obvious parasite. We had somebody with an obvious genetic condition that we diagnosed. And we also had a patient, just talked to him, where we started a yeast treatment for their child. And the mom literally said, my kid just did a 360. And he is phenomenally better in behaviors. The teachers know it. The therapists see it. We see it. It was just so rapid improvement in those behaviors. Okay. We did a treatment for his gut. And so you're going to be seeing a lot of this improved behavior and paying attention once we get rid of that pain. So I want to kind of start there. And I'm going through, again, my Black Friday checklist from last year to talk about it. I want you to look at the section. And again, we're going to have our 2024 Black Friday checklist available this weekend. Check the section called gut support. All right. Because we want to make sure that the gut is functioning and there are no infections. So how do we do that? Well, first, you could get a stool test if you wanted to, all right? But we want to make sure that kids are pooping, all right? Our best, phenomenal, one of our top 5 supplements we have is a supplement called Brown Log Train. And Brown Log Train is an amazing treatment for constipation. Okay, it's a combination of magnesium and electrolytes, and boy, that helps our kids move. We were out of stock of it. For those of you who like Brown Log Train and use it regularly, we were out of stock for the past month. Since the TACA conference, it just came back into stock yesterday. So we've got Brown Log Train. We're also updating our auto orders on our website. So if you use something from Spectrum Awakening regularly, it really works for your child. We're updating all of our auto shipments. So you just be able to, you know, click, put your order in once, and then every month you're going to be able to get your stuff. So we got that ready for Brown Log Train. Danny just said, how does the Brown Log Train taste? It's got a slightly sweet flavor. I want to akin it to similar to stevia. There's no stevia in it, but the ingredients in there have that kind of flavor. It's actually glycine. Glycine is a protein. It's an amino acid, and we have it in there as part of our electrolyte formula. And that has its own little stevia taste to it. So that's what you're going to get. Okay. All right. So make sure they're pooping. That's number 1. Then I want you to try something like our yeast mold bundle. That's going to be killing off yeast infections, mold infections, etc. But we've also got probiotics like Good Gut Reset and Sac Boulardii. We've got prebiotics. We've got supplements for parasites, Paraslayer. We have stuff for oxalates. We have stuff for leaky gut and gut inflammation, gut calm and gut immune access. We have digestive enzymes, some that are chewable. They taste like papaya. These little soft tablets taste like papaya. We have a very thorough digestive enzyme, super digestive enzyme. We've got one specifically for gluten. We've got colloidal silver, this herbal combo biocillin. And lastly, we've got this supplement for reflux, heartburn called Adios Acid. So think about when you've got behaviors with your kids, okay, especially the anger, especially the violence, especially the outbursts. Think gut infections and constipation. That's where I want you guys to start. All right. Next, where should I go from there? I think the next place to go is language. So, and I say that because so many of our patients in our telemedicine practice, and many of you, I want my kid to speak more. All right. Even if they are speaking, that, you know, I want it more conversational. I just don't want the repetition. I just don't want them asking for what they want. I want some kind of back and forth conversation. All right. So let's go over the supplements in our speech section, all right? And I would say the number 1 most researched vitamin for language in our kids with autism, a lot of great scientific research, is a vitamin called folinic acid, all right? Many of you are familiar with it who are, you know, been watching Spectrum Awakening or in the autism world. So folinic acid is definitely something, if you have not tried it, you must try it. Again, I put folinic acid in our top 5 out of our 75 plus things. So you're going to want to try things like folinic acid. Also the Skowron solution. That's our 4-part supplement protocol that balances brain chemistry. So I would definitely look into that. Our Power and Focus is our number 1 best-selling supplement. We also have methylfolate in an MTHFR cream. If you're tired of all these pills, you want your kid to have methylfolate or methyl B12, we have an MTHFR cream. I've got this DMG crossed out. We've phased out our DMG product. We no longer offer it. But again, the new 2024 will be updated for that. So that's language. Now, the next thing I think a lot of families talk about is pandas and pans. I think that's another thing to go to next. Pandas and pans, if you're not familiar, is an autoimmune attack on the brain that comes from an infection. All right. So what happens is you get an infection and the immune system attacks it. That's great. That's what it's supposed to do. And then when the body is attacking that infection, it starts attacking the brain because for some reason that infection and part of the brain look the same to the immune system. It's like identical twins and one of them commits a crime. Well, which one are you going to arrest? I don't know. There's two of them and they look the same. So that's what pandas and pans is from a medical standpoint. So you've got this chronic infection. You've got the immune system chronically attacking things. Working on that and helping that is a combination of anti-inflammatories, so the immune system isn't going crazy on the brain, and destroying the lingering infections, because these infections can last for a long, long time. Think of long COVID. All right, long COVID, my lack of smell, my lack of taste, my fatigue, my brain fog lasted a long time. It just took too long for our body to fight that virus. Similar things can happen with other infections. Maybe the infection is just tough to get rid of. Maybe it's hiding like Lyme disease does or parasites do. Maybe it's an infection that stays in your tonsils, your adenoids, like strep, and you just keep having this immune reaction. So I would look into our immune category, okay? And our immune category here contains things like our curcumes, which is a curcumin supplement, which is great. Our Panda Bear, which is another amazing anti-inflammatory. Antivirals like ViraClear, ViraGone. We have a mushroom combo, immune mushroom. We've got elderberries. This Allergon is for allergies and it's for histamine, so it's really not for pandas and pans. But if you're dealing with pandas and pans, and think about anti-inflammatories and antimicrobials, using those two things together. How do you know if your child has pans or pandas? There's really no good test out there. There are tests. I wouldn't say they're amazing. The Cunningham panel is one that a lot of people use, but I think there isn't a better test out there yet. I hope they come up. So that kind of testing can help, but really what I want you to think about is when your child gets a cold, when they get sick, how is their behavior? If their behavior you get a cold, you feel crappy, you get better in 3 to 7 days. If after that cold, your child's behaviors is off the rail for months, that's a huge sign for pans and pandas. Just like going back to that, talking about yeast infections, a specific sign of yeast infections is inappropriate laughter. Your child's just laughing for no reason. In the middle of the night, they wake up and they laugh. Why are you laughing? There's nothing funny. You didn't watch something on YouTube. So that's a sign of the yeast infections in the gut. And also a sign of parasites. There's two I want to mention. Number one, if your child gets worse during a full moon or a new moon, okay, the full moon is going to be tomorrow, right? If your child's behaviors right now are ramping up and you're not sure why, could be parasites. Also, another sign of parasites is teeth grinding. So if your child grinds their teeth, that's another sign there could be parasites. Get a stool test, try the antimicrobials, go down that road. All right. Where should I go next? Sorry, just leafing through my checklist. Let's talk about mitochondria. Okay. Mitochondria are the parts of every cell that create energy. Okay, we learned this in high school. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of that cell. What does that mean? It's part of every cell, creates energy. Our cells need energy to function. Okay. And that mitochondria that produces energy is often poorly functioning in our kids. Okay, it's functioning, but it's not 100%. And I would say at least 50% of our kids have mitochondrial dysfunction when they have autism. What are the signs? If I don't have enough energy, what's going to happen? Number one, brain development's going to be slower. Okay, that's part of autism. Number two, my muscles. My muscles don't have enough energy. So our kids who have motor skill problems, if you have fine motor skill problems, probably mild mitochondrial dysfunction. If you have gross motor skill problems, like your child has difficulty going upstairs or kicking balls, larger muscular actions, definitely mitochondrial issue. Also, our kids with chronic constipation, okay, our colon, our intestines have muscle in them. They push poop through. The poop just doesn't magically go through us. There's muscles that squeeze that out. So our kids with chronic constipation often have mitochondrial problems as well. So what do you do for mitochondria? Here's our mitochondrial supplements. First and foremost, our best formula is called MitoMax. That's a comprehensive mitochondrial formula with all of the nutrients that mitochondria need. We also have some of those ingredients separate. Carnitine, we have separate, which is in MitoMax. CoQ10, which is in MitoMax. And ATP, which is in MitoMax. Now, let me make a comment on ATP. ATP is the name of the molecular form of energy that mitochondria produce. They make energy as ATP. All right. You can take this as a supplement. You can get ATP. Something I get on my high horse about is there are mitochondrial supplements out on the market that have the word ATP in their name, but they do not contain ATP. It's a marketing ploy. Look at your ingredients. Make sure it contains ATP, the molecular form of energy. It does wonders for gut function. All right. Next, where do I go from here? Sleep. All right. A lot of kids have sleep problems. Let me say this for sleep. A lot of you may be trying melatonin for sleep, okay? It works great at getting someone to fall asleep, and it lasts for 4 hours. So if you give melatonin, then in 4 hours later they wake up, that's a classic, it's a classic sign that melatonin isn't everything you guys need. So what I like for sleep is 3 things that we have, okay? Number 1, melatonin. You get melatonin anywhere. Number 2, our serotonin supplement. Serotonin is great for a lot of things. Number 1, it makes you happy, okay? Number 2, it helps with language development. Number 3, it helps with peristalsis and movement of the gut. And number 4, serotonin eventually becomes melatonin in the brain. So I think of the serotonin supplement as doing a lot of things for language and mood, but it also can act like an extended release melatonin. So that's something you can try as well. Again, if you're taking too many vitamins and you're tired of it, we have a cream with this stuff in it. It has the serotonin. It's got tryptophan, that stuff in turkey that makes you tired and relaxed. It's got melatonin, and it's got other ingredients that are going to help you fall asleep and stay asleep. Okay. As a side comment, if those don't work, and you may have tried these things, be like, didn't work. I've tried everything for sleep and it doesn't work. A lot of our kids who have gut infections don't sleep well. So if you've tried all the sleep stuff, hasn't worked, go with the gut infection. All right. What have I not covered? We'll get to that in a second. We did that. All right. Three more sections. Actually, 2 more sections. Number 1, let's talk about detox. Okay. Well, I gotta say this from Diane. Diane said, "Super serotonin saved my son's sleepless nights." That's Peter Piper, pickle peppers. Super serotonin saved my son's sleepless nights. Diane, that is awesome. I'm glad it worked for you, and thank you for sharing. That's what I need from you guys. I can do these podcasts every week, and we're coming up. I think this has been 6 years that I've done these weekly podcasts, and what I need from you guys is to spread the word. I know there's stuff that works. I know there's hope for our kids, but other families don't. So if you guys can help spread the word, I am here to help educating and guiding and coaching and bringing you what's going to work. All right. Next is detoxification. We're all toxic, period. Okay. And our kids, for some reason, can't get toxins out as fast as the rest of us. They may even have more of certain toxins than we do, specifically aluminum, which is in a lot of our shots. And it's a brain toxin. So we want to make sure we're getting these things out of the brain. How do we do that? And how do you know if you have toxins? Okay. Here's our detox page. Number 1, you can always do a hair test for heavy metals. You can always test for glyphosate. That's Roundup. That's in our non-organic foods as a pesticide. You can also test something called porphyrins. And porphyrins are a part of the body that are very susceptible to toxic damage. So if you run a porphyrin test, you'll kind of get an assessment of the toxic burden in your body. So those are some lab tests. And then some great detox supplements we have. Alpha-lipoic acid, amazing. So much research on it with our kids, detox. We have something called Detox Binderific, which is a chlorella binder. We've got mineral replacements. We have glutathione as a cream. Glutathione is great, but it tastes nasty. And we also have NAC. And then we have our sulforaphane broccoli supplement, which is a great antioxidant and offers a little bit of sulfur detox support. All right. Last but not least, again, just trying to guide you through everything that we have, what you might want. This is our category for overall nutrition. So these are supplements that we have that, may not help specifically speech or behavior or motor function, etc., but just kind of overall nutritional support. First off, and we don't have it on here because it's a new product for this year, is our brand new multivitamin, Multi-Spectrum Complete. I cannot speak highly enough about it. I finally formulated a multivitamin that I think is perfect for our kids. All the vitamins, all the minerals, all the cofactors in the forms that our kids respond well to. Things like folinic acid, things like adenosyl B12, adenosylcobalamin, things like carnitines, things like alpha-lipoic acid, things like magnesium and calcium and zinc and copper, and it's all in there in a powder that tastes pretty decent. So that's our Multi-Spectrum Complete. Again, if you need a multi or you want to try a new multi, I can't speak highly enough of trying that one. We've had kids improve their language on just that, within a month, better language on our multi. All right. Other things that we do have, we have another multi called Boomberry, which is a capsule. It's a small capsule multivitamin. It's good, but it's nowhere near this powder of Multi-Spectrum Complete. So I would definitely try the powder. We also have vitamin C products that help remove histamine. We have it as powders and gummies and capsules and tablets. We have an iodine supplement of magnesium. We've got fish oils. We have protein shakes, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free protein shakes. And we've got vitamin D as liquids and gummies and tablets. In fact, I just took some this morning. I was kind of feeling a little down with all the dark weather. So I took a big shot of our liquid sunshine vitamin D this morning. All right. So that's kind of our overview of supplements. And again, I know I went fast through this, so I want to answer any live questions that you have, but I want to kind of put it into categories of what do I want to give my child? All right. You could always run lab tests and get ideas. Hey, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. Okay. Like run a note test, run a stool test, etc. But I would say in general, especially if you're new to biomedical and new to supplements for autism, behaviors first. If your child has anger, violence, hyperactivity, inappropriate laughter, grinding their teeth, look for a gut infection. Look for chronic constipation and treat that first. Let's bring those behaviors down to a manageable level so your quality of life is better, your child feels happier, the teachers and the therapists are happier. Okay, start there. Then if you're worried about speech, we talked about some, speech supplements that help with a lot of our kids. Then we moved into motor function, mitochondrial function, and then other kind of things that some people are affected by, but not all, like the Pandas, detoxification. What else did I mention? The overall nutrition section, the sleep issues. So you're going to want to pick the stuff for your child that they need. Okay. But I would think about things in that kind of flow chart and that kind of mindset. All right. So let's get to the live questions before we do. Again, don't forget, Black Friday is our big 25% sale. So if you want to try something new, you want to stock up on stuff, that's the time. If you need something now, use the coupon LAB20. LAB, L-A-B 20. It's going to get you 20% off any of our supplements, any of our lab tests, anything on our website. So go with that. But again, if you're stocking up, if you're trying stuff new and you want to wait for Black Friday, it's only in a couple weeks. All right, let's get to our live questions. And I need my cheaters. And let's start at the top with Fino. Hi, Fino. Good live shout out. Good to see you here. Jasmine from Germany. Guten Tag, wie geht's? She loves watching this. Thank you, Jasmine. We actually distribute our supplements through a company called Mandimart in Europe. So there's a European Union warehouse in the Netherlands, and there's one in the UK. Since Brexit, they needed two. But if you're interested in Spectrum Awakening supplements, we do ship international to every country, but you're dealing with DHL fees, you're dealing with customs. Mandimart.eu, Mandimart.eu is our distributor in the EU. All right. Ich vergessen allemann. All right. We've got Mona from Texas. Hi, Mona. I'm a little jealous of your weather right now because I woke up, it was 35 this morning. Colleen, live shout out. Danny, tried a supplement called carnitine and that it could be good, but it made my child's forehead itchy every time. Why is this? I think you're dealing with carnosine with its effects on the gut, and the gut may have become maybe trying to dump some toxins that it can't get out in the poop, and so you start getting itchy in the place where our toxins come out. Just like in college, if I drank too much, my skin starts smelling like cheap beer, because our skin gets rid of some toxins that our pee and poop can't handle. Danny, I would make sure your child's pooping on a regular basis. Try the brown log train if you haven't. Get that poop moving. Olive, which supplements do you recommend for learning disabilities? Again, I would, where does that come from? Most learning disabilities are going to come from an imbalance in brain chemistry, things like serotonin and dopamine and GABA, things we need our brain to function. Our brain chemistry balancing protocol is called the Skowron solution. So I would try that and see if it helps. Benny, live shout out. Benny's off and on. Danny, talked about the brown log train taste. Haley, what about injuring self when they're trying to communicate but you aren't understanding what they want so they hurt themselves or others? That's a good question, Haley. So we're talking about frustration that's induced by an event and not frustration other times. So if they're sitting watching TV or whatever, if they're doing what they want, they're good. But if they're trying to communicate something with you, like I want cookies or I want all of my Halloween candy right now, and you don't understand them, they get frustrated. So that is different. What I would try with that, Haley, is we have a supplement. I didn't even go over it. It's in a section that I didn't show you guys in our checklist called behaviors. I would try our Common Cool supplement or our Temper Tamer supplement. I think those fit what you're describing. And then hopefully once we get the language out, the frustration will go away. All right, sorry, I still need my cheaters. Nina, what causes noise sensitivity over time? Sensory's tough. Sensory's really tough. And I find sensory as an overactivation of the nervous system from stress or inflammation. And I'll often use this metaphor. If I'm in my house and it's the middle of the night and I'm asleep and I hear a window break in my house, okay? Guess what? I am up. I am up. My adrenaline is pumping. I can hear every creak. I can see in the dark. I am so sad. My wife leans over, is like, what's going on? I'm like, shush, 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 quiet. You're too loud. I got to hear things, okay? I think about our own personal changes to our sensory system and what can elevate that. And again, I find that's either stress or inflammation. So I would try two things. Number one, I would try something that'll reduce stress, like our Temper Tamer supplement, which I just mentioned. And maybe you want to try some anti-inflammatories. Try our Panda Bear, try our curcumies, see if those things help. There are some things that a lot of other people use in the profession, like zinc, which can help a little bit. I haven't seen it work huge, but something to consider. Danny, should you start slow with a prebiotic fiber if the child's constipated? No. I would get the constipation fixed first, then start the prebiotic. Diane, can dyspraxia be healed? I think so. When my son regressed, his drawing disappeared, articulation, something happened, so I'm thinking he can be like before he regressed at 3. I agree. So specifically for dyspraxia, I would go bring him to a behavioral optometrist. A behavioral optometrist is different than a typical eye doctor. They're working on how your eyes behave. All right. I'm sorry. I thought that was dyslexia. It's dyspraxia. All right. Sorry about that. So Diane, yes, dyspraxia, definitely. I find language is two things. Number one, it's the brain hearing language, understanding language, then turning it into a different part of the brain that brings it out as speech. Then there's the motor function of the mouth. So I think if we're dealing with that mental processing, try the things that were in our speech category, like power and focus, Skowron solution. But if it's the motor planning part of it, like can't get the words out, then I would look at mitochondrial function because that deals with the muscles, like our Mitomax. But I agree with you, what you said. If he regressed, he can be like before he regressed, 100%. All right. Angie, hey doc, we are seeing you in first week of December. Awesome. I'm excited. My daughter is currently using oxy powder. Can I add brown log train? Yeah, no, totally you can. All right, Diane, Power and Focus brought sounds and some few words despite my son having a lot of heavy metals. I will buy again this month. Diane, I'm so glad it worked. These are the stories we all need to hear. What works for your child? Because that means it'll work for another child. TJ, hey doc, how will an MRI scan help an autistic kid? If there are large anatomical changes to your child's brain, it would be helpful to know that so we can address it. The majority of MRIs in our kids are totally normal. Okay, there's been few and far between in my patients over 20 years where I've seen an abnormal MRI, but you never know till you do it, you know. But again, once we get the MRI back, Is there anything anatomically different in the brain, and what do we do about it? All right, Amanda, our son is 9 with Down syndrome. He's on liquid Zyrtec daily for allergies. I'd like to replace that with something natural. Would Allergon be a good recommendation? Yes, Amanda. Allergon is what I would have suggested to my patients. So try the Allergon, and experiment with the Zyrtec and see what works or doesn't work. Diane, thank you. You already answered my question, mitochondria. Oh, you're welcome. Jasmine, what could cause constant pain in and around the ears? Well, number one, obviously, this probably is too obvious an answer, is an ear infection. It could also be some type of skin infection near the ear. You can get yeast infections, like skin yeast infections behind the ear or even in the ear. But I really just want to say ear infection. So bring them to your pediatrician or urgent care and take a look. Could we give PEA to try and treat it? Because whole life on antibiotics because of ear infections. And I just read that part. Yeah. Okay. So let me say this, Jasmine. If your child, and everybody listen, if your child, I wish my parents knew this when I was young. If your child has chronic recurrent ear infections, okay, I did as a kid, on how many doses of that white liquid chalky medicine or the bubblegum one that I have, okay? The vast majority of those are from dairy. The vast majority of chronic and recurrent ear infections are from dairy. Stop the dairy. You'll stop the ear infections 9 out of 10 times. Not all the time, but most of the time. Okay. So he just may still have a plugged ear. Even if it's not an infection, it's just plugged mucus in there. If you haven't stopped the dairy yet, Jasmine, try that. You could give PEA, like our Panda Bear, see what happens, but I would do the dairy first. Jane, can you take super serotonin while taking 5-HTP? My Pandas kid's sleep is awful. Well, our super serotonin is a chewable 5-HTP tablet. So it is the same. So you could take them together, but they're the same thing. Tryptophan makes it worse. My Pandas kid's sleep is awful. I want you to try anti-inflammatories before bed, Jane. Whether that be ibuprofen. Remember, no Tylenol. We are done. Tylenol, acetaminophen, throw it out of your house. Never again. Try some ibuprofen, try some of our Panda Bear, see if that helps. Diane, as I mentioned before, super serotonin saved my son's sleepless nights. I just wanted to make sure I could say that again. Angie, can serotonin increase self-injurious behaviors? I've seen our serotonin supplements in general can make sleep a little worse and behaviors a little worse in a handful of kids. I believe these are kids who have chronic constipation and gut infections. So stop the serotonin supplement, go after the gut, and then come back. Jane, what would you advise for a gut infection? Probiotics? Much more, Jane. Probiotics are great, but they aren't going to kill off an infection. No, they're just not going to do it. And I've seen this from some of my colleagues, and I completely disagree. You're not being aggressive enough. We got to knock these things out, okay? How do we do that? Let me get our Black Friday checklist again. You want to use something that's going to kill the gut infection. The yeast mold bundle, I would say, is our number one. You can also use things like our Biocillin or our Paraslayer. But number one, first, I would do the yeast mold bundle. You can use the probiotics with that, but you need much more. Danny, are Epsom salt baths beneficial? Yeah, they are. Okay, and I say that with a high tone because they're mildly beneficial. They're calming. Magnesium, it's magnesium sulfate. That's what Epsom salts are. Magnesium's calming and relaxing, and that's great. Magnesium can also help slightly with detox. I'm going to really emphasize that word slightly. It's not a massively strong detox, but a little bit will come out in the bath. So that's why they help. Bella, good morning. Bella's always on. Good morning from Carlsbad. I have my 15-year-old daughter on most of your products. Her language communication has gone through the roof. She now asks me questions involving the presidential election. We'll be checking her for any absent seizures tomorrow. Make sure we see the result of that. Thank you again. And yes, your products are helping my teenage daughter. God bless you. See you next October at Taka. Bella, thank you. I love it. These are the things we need to share. So I'm so glad it's working for you. And I want it to work for everybody. Diane, the combination of glutathiones, alpha-lipoic acid, and homeopathics that we had before made my son brain function increase and learn new skills and learn how to say no. I'll always cry for that one. Yeah, they often come back with that. Christina's patient. If our test results show normal levels of serotonin, it's okay to keep taking the serotonin supplement. Yes. Would it provide any benefits since lab levels are normal? Yes. Can it cause too much serotonin? If you took the whole bottle, yeah. but not huge. So let me say this. Lab tests are based, the reference ranges of lab tests are not based on what's healthy. Okay, they're based on the people that come in, and they take a mathematical bell curve average. So the serotonin levels on the reference range are the serotonin levels of the people that come in and get tested. That's how they create the reference range. Doesn't mean it's a good amount or a healthy amount or an effective amount. So I think what matters when we're using natural treatments is effect. You give something, you watch the effect. If it's good, you do it. If it's bad, you don't. Period. Rahila, what should be the route for treating SIBO? I find treating SIBO works with treating constipation. Let me explain why. SIBO is an acronym for small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Okay, there's too many probiotics, too many good bacteria in your small intestine. Okay, it's not an infection. It's the good stuff, but there's too many, and that can cause a problem. When we poop, 50% or more of our poop is bacteria. It's probiotics. It's coming out. Okay, so if you have a lot in there, get rid of it. All right, so even if you think you're pooping on a regular basis, take something like our brown log trainer, take something for constipation, get that poop out more. I don't think we go after it by using antimicrobials. Angie, my daughter, has all the signs of a gut infection. Right now we're doing your yeast. You recommend more binder. Can charcoal be a binder? Yes, it can. Christina, what's the best tasting anti-inflammatory? Curcumin was too strong. Well, our Panda Bear is flavorless. No taste at all. Okay? So you can go with the Panda Bear. Paula's on. Paula's off and on. Hey, Paula. Tay, my son has been bouncing off the walls past few weeks. We've been treating with nystatin. Also did 14 days of azithromycin for a PANS flare. Nothing is helping. Binders. Binders, 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 binders. Anytime you're using a nystatin or a fungal treatment like diflucan or ketoconazole or even our yeast mold bundle or something natural, you need a binder to grab out those dying things and get them all out of you. If not, your child bounces off the walls like they are now. Okay? Get our yeast mold binder. Sorry, it's called Gut Binder Sweet Tasting. Binders, binders, binders. As many as you want. Selma, what are your thoughts on Acemanon? I don't know what that is, Selma. Paula, hi. Hi, Paula. Brianna, how do you know if your child has oxidative stress? Really, it's the OAT test. So there's an organic acid test, which you can get on our website, Mosaic Diagnostics, Genova. They're going to analyze your oxidative damage or oxidative stress. What is oxidative stress? Is your car rusted? That's oxidation. Okay. Did your apple brown after you cut it? That's oxidation. It's the natural decomposition of life. Okay. And happens to us too. We're alive. Okay. Take a piece of roadkill. All right. Hey, sorry, there's a poor squirrel on the road. It got run over and it starts to decompose. That's oxidation. That's bacteria eating the animal. Okay. When we're alive, our body repairs that damage with antioxidants. So how do you know how much oxidative stress you have? One of those organic acid tests will tell you. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing my own OAT test, and put it online, put it on our website, put it on our social media so you can see what my OAT test is and how I interpret it and choose treatments. All right, Daniela, I've been dealing with migraines since I was 13 years old. I also experienced severe panic attacks, autism, fatigue, fibro, weak knees, and high blood pressure. I feel much better, and she's promoting a supplement. All right, Danny, daughter has soft poop but small amounts, doesn't fully evacuate. Is this indicative of constipation? Yes, I'm going to read that again. My daughter, her poop is soft but small. She does not fully get all of her poop out. This is constipation. This is actually one of the worst forms of constipation. Okay, you could have a bunch of rabbit pellets, but if you're just pooping out a little bit of soft pile every day, it means there's a big poop stuck up top and the body's trying to flush it out, but can't. So yes, that is definitely constipation. It's called impaction. Fino, hey doc, my child teeth grinds only at night. We checked zinc and iron are good. Grinding connects always with parasites. You recommend treating it first or doing a heavy metal detox first? All right, so let me say this. At the age of 3 or 4, most kids grind their teeth at night, okay? If your child's 5 or above and still teeth grinding, day or night, it's a problem. I would go after the parasites first. Don't worry about heavy metals. Get rid of those parasites. Brianna, how often should we do stool testing be done? If you have an infection and you're treating it, maybe every 3 to 6 months. If not, I don't think you need it unless symptoms come about. So if your child is, doing plateau and hey, we're all right, and then all of a sudden you tank and there's behaviors and there's the laughter and there's other problems, then I would do a stool test. How about EEGs? I think once you have a normal EEG, you don't need another one until you have some kind of concern about seizure activity. That being said, an EEG that's effective should be 48 to 72 hours. If you just go in and get like a 10-minute EEG, it's not enough. Angie, what's the best time to do Etsy down? It doesn't matter, actually. I have not tried this for my daughter. She's 15. We did birth control, and that was terrible with self-injurious behaviors. I want to accent that again. I often see birth control cause bad behaviors. I'm not a fan. I have Etsy down, just arrived. What's the best time? Honestly, it doesn't matter, Angie. Whenever. But our SD down supplement helps the normal metabolism of hormones, which can be great for puberty moods, especially if you do poorly on birth control. Brianna, is there a zinc lotion you recommend? There's not, Brianna. Brianna, thoughts on ubiquinol? I really need it as a gummy or a powder. Do you happen to have one of those in the works? Let me answer the second question. We do not have a gummy or a powder. We have, forget if it's a capsule or a soft gel. Probably a soft gel. Ubiquinol, which is CoQ10, great mitochondrial supplement. There's two forms. There's ubiquinol, which you typed in, and that's the good one. Then there's ubiquinone, N-O-N-E. So ubiquinol ends N-O-L, ubiquinone ends N-O-N-E. And I use that as my mnemonic because ubiquinone is the crappy form. It's the cheap form. You don't want it. So I use the mnemonic, it ends in N-O-N-E. I want none of that. I want ubiquinol. That's the good CoQ10. You're going to pay for it. You're going to pay double, triple the cost of ubiquinone, but it's worth it because it's the good stuff. And it helps with mitochondrial treatments. We do not have it as a gummy or powder. CoQ10 is fat soluble. So most of the time you're going to get it in a soft gel. It might be easily put into a gummy because those can be fat soluble, but the powder is going to be tough. Omo, what causes escapism? Anxiety. Anxiety causes escapism. Okay. How do you stop it? I would try our super serotonin supplement, Omo, or maybe our Common Cool. See if those work. Danny, if my daughter's always scrolling on YouTube and wanting to eat, I'm thinking low dopamine. What product would you recommend? So the product we have, do I have it here? No, I don't. Our product Attention on the Double is our natural product that boosts dopamine levels in the brain. Try that. But you're right on target. Selma, my 4-year-old went from 0 words to 13 words in 1 month. Thanks to Dr. Skowron. So thankful for you and going to keep pushing forward. Selma, you made my day. This is all we want to hear. I love helping kids. I love helping kids with autism. This is what I want to know is working, and this is what we're going to share with others. So thank you, Selma. Jane says thank you. You're welcome. Rodney's always on. TJ, while taking the yeast mold, silver, and gut binder, can the child be taking multispectrum complete? Yes. Or do we have to finish? No. You can use the yeast mold bundle with any other supplements you want. Danny, probiotics give my child motor and verbal tics. Any idea? Yes. Danny, I'm glad you asked this. If you are giving a gut treatment and your child seems to get worse, okay, if you're giving probiotics, if you're giving prebiotics, if you're giving inulin, and your child gets worse, it means they have a gut infection, and those supplements are helping, but we need to use a binder and we need to go more aggressively. Okay? So go into the yeast mold bundle. But I'm glad you asked that question because it's a common question. All right. Christine, hello from Egypt again. Dr. Skowron, last week my 5-year-old child developed bad mood and some aggressive behavior. What can cause such change? I want you to go back and look at what changed in their life. Okay. Over the last 3 weeks, I stopped the iron supplement. I doubt it's related. I increased the folinic acid. Very possible. We supplement with other B vitamins like methyl B12. That's very possible. Too much B vitamins? Maybe. Can a gut infection be a cause too? Yes, it can. But if it's so abrupt, I want to know what happened at that time change. But definitely the B vitamins, folinic acid, too much of that stuff. We developed a supplement to help with B vitamin sensitivity called anger management. That might be something you want to try as well. And again, I know we discussed briefly, Christine, about getting Spectrum Awakening into Egypt. If you know a company that imports vitamins from the U.S., Put us together and we'll make it happen. Or we'll try. Benny, my 8-year-old son has been on urflinic acid for about a year and huge improvements in language. He's been taking Mitomax for 2 months and he's greatly improved in school. My question is, he has a tendency of biting right and sticking deep into his mouth. I assume that's a typo. I assume that's Siri. But if he's sticking something in his mouth, why? And how far back? And I think the thing that comes to my mind is there pain? Is there pain in his tooth? Does he have a tooth infection? Do you need to go to the dentist? Do you need an x-ray? Are his tonsils bothering him? Do you need his tonsils taken out? If he's sticking his finger in deep in his mouth, why? I would go look for something very physical, like a infection or tonsils. Angie, any anti-inflammatory besides Motrin? Yes, our Panda Bear and our curcumin. And you can't be on, any kind of pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen long-term. You'll get an ulcer. So we need alternatives. Got it. My child hits his ears. Again, hitting ears. Is it an infection? Is it fluid in the ears? Or is it just sensory? Like, it sounds cool, I would go after, well, again, bring him to PD or urgent care, look in the ears, but I would also try anti-inflammatories, see if it helps that. Jeannie's on. Hey, Jeannie. Sophia, what supplements do you have for MCAS? I would say this, and I tried the brown log train. It helps so much. Yes, it does, Sophia. I'm glad it does for you. I would do this. Number one, because you're dealing with mast cells and histamine, make sure you're taking our supplement Allergon. Okay, that's going to help metabolize histamine and reduce some of those symptoms. But where does that come from? And I'm finding more often a lot of our MCAS kids have parasites. So look into parasite treatments, look into stool tests, and see that might be a more permanent future improvement. Erica's on. Hey, Erica. Also, can we give all of these daily yeast mold bundles, silver colloidal grape food, and the gut binder together? Yes. Erica says she loves the Paraslayer, ordering more today. Awesome, Erica. Quick note, our Paraslayer is an amazing antimicrobial supplement for the gut. It's in a capsule. If you open it, it tastes horrible, all right? If you can swallow pills, do it. I would not recommend opening this capsule. Danny, do you think bowel irrigation is safe to do every day for impaction? Yeah, I would use saline. I wouldn't be using just water. But yeah, saline I think is great. Put some probiotics in there. Angie, can you mention your binders? I already have the yeast mold bundle. I need an extra binder. So we've got 2 binders. One is our gut binder, sweet tasting, which comes in the bundle. We also have something called yeast mold binder. What's the difference? The yeast mold binder is mostly chlorella. So it's a great chlorella binder. Our gut binder, sweet tasting, is a combo of a lot of different things, like 20 different ingredients that act as binders. So that's what we have. You can also use activated charcoal, which you can get over the counter. So those are a couple ideas. Benny says he's biting his right hand. Oh, that's sensory for sure. But again, check the dentist thing. I don't know why I thought of that, but that's my concern. Gata, doctor told me to use methylene blue. Interesting, Gata. A few people have mentioned that to me the past couple months. Boy, I haven't heard of methylene blue since I was in med school, back in the 20th century. So I don't have any advice. But I will say this, a couple of patients have mentioned it recently and they liked it. Haifa, can I get my kids power and focus with a prebiotic, probiotic? Yes, we can. Can I add attention on the double as well? Yes, you can. Benny says, thank you. You're welcome. All right. That's all the live questions that I see. So if I didn't answer your question or you have one, put it in the comments section. Danny just said, I could put some salt or probiotics in bowel irrigation. That's safe? Yeah, totally. Megan, what's the best recommendation for calming without any methylating ingredients? Oh, hold on. Let me go to our behavior section. All right. Try our Calm and Cool. Try our chewable GABA, chewable theanine. We also have a calming cream. Try our Spectrum Tranquility. Try our Super Serotonin. I would go with that. Haifa says the best supplement for stimming. The stimming might be coming from a gut infection. So look at that. But also I find our Temper Tamer supplement and our Attention on the Double supplement can help with stimming. So, all right. Keep typing in questions if you have them. Tay says, does Calm and Cool come in a capsule? No, it does not. Just a powder. If you have another question, put it in the comment section, but let me kind of step back and review. So, Jeannie, well, I got to say what Jeannie said. Jeannie said back in the 20th century sounds like 100 years ago. Yeah, you know what? And guess what? Next year, when it's 2025, it'll be 40 years since Back to the Future came out. Back to the Future was based in 1985, and they went back, 30 years to 1955, and now it's 40 years since Back to the Future came out. I'm feeling old about that. All right. What supplements do you want to use for your kids? That's what we're talking about today in the podcast. It all depends on what's going on with them. If it's behaviors, okay, look into a gut infection. Start there. Look at constipation. Start there. If your behaviors are good and you're looking at language, then look at our Skowron solution. Try our Power and Focus. Download this Black Friday checklist, which again, the new one will be out this weekend. Look at those things. If you have motor problems, look at Mitochondrial. If you've got Pandas PANS concerns, look at our anti-inflammatories and antimicrobials. Take a look at the different things that we have, because I know it gets overwhelming and confusing. But again, we've got 75 different supplements on this website because that's what I've formulated for my patients. And the right thing is definitely going to work. And Spectrum Awakening has 30-day return policy. You try it, don't work, send it back. Okay? Coupon for the weekend is LAB20, LAB20. Get you 20% off any supplements or lab tests. And obviously our Black Friday sales coming up in 2 weeks with 25% off everything. I mean, what a time to get lab testing. If you're going to do it, that's when you do it. Couple other questions here. Haifa says the best supplement for the Orexin 2 gene variant. I would go with our Skowron solution. I would look at that. It has to do with how the neurons are functioning. Diane, can Power and Focus balance neurotransmitters? It does, except for dopamine. And so our attention on the double supplement may need to be added on to that, but it'll handle all of those. Rosie, my 17-year-old suddenly became very aggressive. All right. At 17, I'm not worried about hormones because the hormones already came on when he was 12 or 13. So that sudden aggression, I would look at pain. Does he have an infection? Does he have, parasites because the full moon's out? How recent is this? Or are we looking at a Pandas PANS thing and you want to go with anti-inflammatories? I would kind of go down those roads, Rosie. Denissa says, hi. Hi, Denissa. Bella, what are your thoughts on a supplement called Spectrum Needs? Good question, Bella. So Spectrum Needs is a supplement that is a great mitochondrial formula. Now, we distribute Spectrum Needs through our Spectrum Awakening website. Okay, so we do offer it, but we do not produce it. We don't make it. Our companies tend to get confused because of the Spectrum thing, Spectrum Needs, Spectrum Awakening. I get that. So it's an amazing mitochondrial supplement, and I really respect the doctor who formulated it. But I will say this, it's got a lot of methylated B vitamins. So if your kids don't do well on those B vitamins and they get hyper and they have sleep problems, instead of Spectrum Needs, use our Mitomax. And so, in fact, before I developed Mitomax, I just used the Spectrum Needs supplement. Again, it's a very great mitochondrial formula. But if your kid's getting hyper on the B vitamins, you got to go with the Mitomax, or just try the Mitomax versus Spectrum Needs, see which works better. Okay. I should probably note, I am on the medical advisory board for that company that makes Spectrum Needs. And I know what's good and I know the challenges. All right, Nina, your super serotonin is awesome. My daughter is sleeping 12 hours nonstop. I wish my daughter slept 12 hours nonstop, Nina. Rahila, any thoughts on mast cell issues and identification? I'm not sure about identification, what you mean by that. But again, the mast cell, I would go with the antihistamines like our Allergon and look at parasites. You just may have a parasite. Haifa, I live in New York State. How can I test my stool and oat? Because it's not available in New York State. That's right. These tests, like the organic acid test and the stool test, they're illegal. They're illegal in the state of New York. I can send these tests all over the world, not New York State. Number one, call your congressman. Okay, have them let these tests be legal because every other state does and countries do. So why not you, New York? And but in the meantime, if you have a friend or family member out of the state of New York, ship it to them and then pick it up from them. So if you have somebody in Connecticut or Jersey, that's the way to do it. All right. Denissa, what are your thoughts on primitive reflex integration therapy? I've had a lot of my patients do it. Nobody has said it's hugely amazing, but I've had a lot of patients do it. Haifa, love all your work, Doc. Thank you, Haifa. I just want it to work. Fino, all right, last question. We'll wrap up here. Fino says, Doc, what are your thoughts on CBD for speech brain development for kids under the age of 10? I think it's great. I think you should try it. I think it's great for behaviors. I've never seen it help brain development or language. Not saying it won't, but I think it's great for anxiety. Haifa, will do. I have a sister in Jersey. Yeah, just send it to your sister in Jersey. That's it. You got it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. One last question here from Omo. Thoughts on chlorine dioxide? Well, chlorine dioxide was popular like 10, 15 years ago. This lady was really promoting it through the Autism One conferences. And I don't ever prescribe it or suggest it. But it is a treatment that is designed to kill infections in the gut. So the idea I like, let's treat gut infections. The chlorine dioxide itself, specifically, I don't use, but that's kind of the idea behind it. Diane says, thank you, you're welcome. And Jeannie says, congrats on my 6th win to be the best holistic pediatrician in the state of Connecticut. Yes, there's a magazine here called Natural Nutmeg that does a kind of a best of annual voter, survey. And I've been lucky enough to be voted best holistic pediatrician in the state of Connecticut for the 6th year in a row, which they started this 6 years ago. So I've been very lucky, and thank you guys all for voting. And, I love my work, and I love what I do, and I love helping your kids. All right. Fino says thanks, and Denissa says thanks. David's doing a lot better. All right, guys. Thank you for doing everything you can to help your kids. We'll send out an e-blast on social media so you can get your new Black Friday checklist. Take a look at things. Maybe there's something you want to get, stock up on. Maybe you need a lab test. Maybe there's something you haven't tried. You didn't even know we had because we have so many darn things. Take a look. But again, we've always got an answer for you guys, and we really want to find it. So thanks for sharing and spreading the word. Thanks for getting this out to other families, and thanks for doing everything you can do to help your child. All right. Have a great day, guys.